Hi, I'm Kevin Anderson. I'm the blogs editor at The Guardian.
Yeah, and you have been on a journey in the U.S. election.
Yeah, I spent 2 months in the United States, and about half that time I was actually on the road talking to a mix of ordinary Americans, but also political bloggers who were following the election even more closely than the rest of us, just to get a sense of what the major issues were in the election and how they saw things working out as far as the candidates.
And you used a lot of social media during this. This week.
So all of the pictures that I took, I posted on Flickr.
Yeah.
I licensed them under Creative Commons, attribution, non-commercial.
Yeah.
I used Twitter mostly because I was traveling so much, 4,000 miles in 3.5 weeks. Twitter allowed me to provide a live stream of what was going on, both in news but also comments of people who were following me on the Twitter stream. So it was just an effective way to do the job. I also had a Facebook group. I used some other social tools, but those are the three that I focused on.
But Twitter, you could also have more like used for like when it comes to methods or working.
Yeah, I mean it was all through my phone.
Yeah.
My phone's got a 5-megapixel camera, so I could upload pictures directly from the phone.
Yeah. No, but I mean to find people, to find stories. Yes, yeah.
So I also the great thing is that some of the people who were following me on Twitter also, there in California, for instance, there was a gentleman who whose father was in the real estate industry or had been in the real estate industry, and he could tell me about the housing crisis and the impact in California, and also tell me how this housing crisis was different than previous downturns, and gave me a tour of Riverside, California, which is one of the hardest hit communities in California, and again got in touch with me by email and Twitter.
You didn't know this was the hardest touched before he contacted you?
I knew that it was a pocket, but instead of having to go to Riverside and find someone contacted me because of a blog post that I had written, so it made my job easier.
Yeah. And what's your main lesson learned from this trip?
Well, I think the main lesson I would say is that, obviously a website's important, but we also have to take our journalism to where people are at. So if that's in Twitter, or if that's in Facebook, or if that's putting pictures on Flickr, that expands the reach of our journalism and takes our journalism to people. I think that's important. I think also the great thing is, as these tools become mobile, as more of them go on, we have better mobile data networks and phones that are more capable. You can be in constant contact with your readers and constantly finding new sources because they identify themselves through these networks.
So you see this as a meme for journalists, not for opinion or for chatting or...
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's an incredibly powerful journalistic tool because we've always wanted to find people with first-person experience of the story we're covering. Yeah. And now people are identifying themselves and standing up in Twitter or YouTube or any of these platforms and saying, my father was in the real estate business, or I'm blogging from Iraq, or we even, there was somebody after Hurricane Katrina, there was someone who was podcasting live as they were evacuating Katrina. And I mean, come on, it was great video. I mean, he's driving up the interstate from New Orleans. I mean, what journalist wouldn't want that? So I mean, to me, there's an amazing amount of opportunity there, and we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah. Can you, the other people at Guardian, are they with you here, or are you like a lonely rider or lonely wolf?
We're really blessed at the Guardian that we've got a lot of great bloggers. I think right now, but I don't want to diminish what they do.
But I mean reporters, I mean journalists.
Yeah. Well, I mean they're reporters who blog.
Okay.
So let me be clear. Yeah. Right now they're concentrated primarily in our media and technology section. Yeah. So what I hope to do is work with traditional news journalists and show them how they can use this as well. Because I think, the tech journalists are obviously the early adopters for a lot of reasons, but I want to take this to other journalists as well.
You had also a hacking conference.
Yeah, so the Guardian is going to be soon launching a developers network. We're going to be releasing a set of APIs, and we want people to be able to mash up our content, do different things with it, present it different ways. And in anticipation of the launch of that developers network, we had a hack day and it was a mix of staff and also other external developers.
Yeah.
And it was a real hit because I think for the first time, a lot of journalists who hadn't necessarily been working on the digital side saw how powerful this was, and not just how powerful, but also things that we could do in just a day.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, I think the thing is we struggle with this idea that to develop something it takes a long time, but this was just one day, and just idea.